1, 2, 1, 2. We are back. Little hiatus. We got a lot to talk about tonight. GYGB War Report Show. I'm your co-host, Roberto Flack. My PNC's out in the tundra of Philly. R.O. Diggity and Coach fam.
Yo.
So y'all ready to make that move, man?
Man, I'm ready to get Ghost out of this joint. South, West, the best. They call it the best coast, the West Coast, San Diego, signing up. Everybody throwing my dubs out this joint.
Yeah. I mean, look, man. Go ahead.
Hey, it's going down to 8 degrees tomorrow.
Yo,
yeah. See, and this is what I
had like negative 50 degrees or something like that. Like,
so this is what train, and it's funny. This is what is the story needs to be told. It's going down tomorrow, but what Train didn't tell you, it's going to be 50 degrees on Sunday.
Yeah, that's the other part of this.
Yeah, that's wild.
What is bipolar, man?
Well, even down here, man. I mean, we don't get cold weather like that down here, you know. So it's like having these 48, 47 degree days. Yo, like people are outside with like scarves and boots and everything.
Yo, it's funny. Funny you said that. I told you I was in Disney like a few years ago. One of the kids.
Yeah, you told me.
I told you we had to run to the outlets to go get
to grab the joints. You know,
out that joint. I'm thinking like, oh, they're cold, ain't art. You know, I get down there. It went down like in the 40s. This is Orlando, you know, further up from where you at. But
yeah,
still though, like it was crazy.
Yeah, it's weird, man. Florida's like that. I was telling ROD before we got on, man. Once you get past Orlando, that's when you hit like that that warmness. But Orlando and up, man. I mean, I was in Florida State.
Yeah, I know.
I can tell you, it was 20 degrees over there, man. It was brick. It was brick, man. So, but yo, we got so much to discuss, and like, I mean, we got to really backtrack 2 weeks ago at this point, man. I mean, we're just gonna run down real quick. We'll get everybody on the board's opinions. Pacquiao, Broner. Win as we expected. You know, there's really no surprise in this. Much of the talk, more so than the fight, was Broner's talk after the fight as it relates to how he thought the fight played out. But look, man, we all thought Pacquiao would win this fight, and he clearly did. And as I thought, Broner survived. You know, I didn't think he was going to do anything more than he did. And I think it's because he's proven in the past, time and time again, that he doesn't like to get hit. And when there's a lot of punches thrown at him, he gets, you know, he doesn't like to throw back, you know. So for whatever reason it is. But Train, man, just give me your quick thoughts on the fight.
I mean, it literally played out the way like we thought it would play out. You know, anybody can go watch our video. We said that it would pretty much be once Pacquiao put his hands on him, Broner would get on his bike. Maybe you can even call it a bike. You know, he was on like a hoverboard, you know.
Shout to the Michael J. Fox.
Yeah, who started it all, gliding all over the place, running from Biff. But he you know, we knew he just wanted to say he went 12 rounds. I'm bothered by Broner because for me personally, I know that it's a stick, it's an act to keep his act going. We'll talk about, you know, how much of the act he got left. It's almost like he's created this character to put him in position to get a fight with Pacquiao. And he just wanted to go and come out of the fight unscathed, so to speak. And listen, Pacquiao's not the same Pacquiao he once was, or he would have probably knocked Broner out. And Broner knew this, and he was able to run around enough just to not get knocked out. I think he threw, one punch up into the 6th round? I mean, it was really nothing shocking that happened. I thought Pacquiao would beat him up a little bit more than he did, but I'm not even going to really fault Pacquiao because, you know, Broner just literally ran a whole night, and the fight was more so to look for Pacquiao to look good, more so than to Broner look good. He was fed to him, and it pretty much played out the way we played out. Broner went off and said he won the fight at the end because the character that he's created for himself, he's not going to abandon the character right then and there and become like some humble, regular guy. So I'm not shocked by nothing that happened. None of it.
Did you happen to hear, and I'll pass it to you, ROD, did you happen to hear the corner? I saw the epilogue. You know, the Showtime does that, like, 25-minute like little post thing. And I'm listening to the corner, right? Cunningham and
Stafford.
You know, like he's like Broner's like asking him, like, I won the round, right? At what point as a trainer you say, nah, you didn't win that round? Like I never sensed any major urgency from anybody in the corner, like at any point in the fight, like or anything that I would say, like, wow, that I think that might have sparked something. Like I didn't see that the entire night.
Real quick before you pass the RL date, and this is no disrespect to Kevin Cunningham, who I heard is a really good guy, former police officer, gives back to a lot of those kids, give them opportunities. But when you training a guy like Broner, remember like the 80s kid stars, like they would have like the big cellular phone and they would have like these entourage of adults that they just kind of like telling what to do. You know, they got no control over what the kid actors. That's almost what it's like training him. It's almost like a spoiled kid actor, you know, with his management team that doesn't really manage him, just more so there to be like a yes person to him. And again, this is no knock to Kevin Cunningham, who I think is kind of was there on the strength of the history he has, because I know they all got like history.
Right, yeah.
Barry Hunter group, Kevin Cunningham group, and Stafford, Broner trainer. So no knock to them dudes, because you know they were like father figures to a lot of those kids that didn't come from broken homes and stuff. So again, this is no knock to them. It's just that Broner is to the point I don't know who he would listen to at this point.
ROD, let me get your 2 cents on the fight.
No, I think that we called it, but the only reason we called it is because, can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
I can hear you.
All right. The only reason we called it is because Broner is who we thought he was, our Dennis Green voice. You know what I mean? And, it's amazing, man, how someone with a lot of talent can just squander it, man, just by, as Train said, being a character. Like, he's more interested in being a comedian and doing things for shock value than he is throwing punches. And no knock to Pacquiao, because he did what he had to do. But, like, it's crazy that this guy talked up this great game. All right, now I'm going to tell you this. He talked up this great game. We knew Pacquiao was going to be game. And he kind of, like what he called, got rid of his corner or rearranged his corner. And it still seems like he still got the same yes men around him. Like, everybody's just telling him what he wants to hear. Like, to your point where you said, they needed some more transparency in the corner to tell him how he was doing. And, like, there was no sense of urgency, nothing. Now, what I find even more of a travesty is the generation of younger people, man, that are feeding into the narrative that Broner really won this fight. Like, it's a shame, man. Yo, Train, you've seen it. You know how many young guys really think that Broner really won?
Yeah. Oh, that's a whole nother story there. No.
Listen, Roberto, it is so bad, man. Or people will say, I love Broner's confidence. And we all know that confidence is really silence. It has nothing to do with, like, just walking and just talking it. It's walking it, and I'm like, that's not silent. That's not confidence, man. That's passive, being a passive aggressive. So, like, for me, man, it's a shame because Pacquiao legend lives on because he goes on. He's been multiple weight classes at 40, winning championships. But Broner legends live on. And his legend lives on as the fact that he's just going to always go down in history, unfortunately, as a guy that could never pull the trigger. Every time he fought big-name fights, he just kind of crapped the bed, man, like the Buffalo Bills. You know what I mean? And it's a shame that his career is going like that, man. And now you got people saying, I forget who was saying it. They're like, oh, man, I would love to fight Adrian Broner. Like, that would be a good fight. I forget who said this. And I'm like, wow, man, this guy's really become like, the last person you pick in the rough, the last person you pick on your 5-on-5. Like, yeah, give me Adrian. He's sitting over there.
It's funny. Train brought up a point. Reading the comments on his page, right? When you saw it? Well, he put up the post about I might have to go start selling bricks and everything, and then he put up a funny video of him going in front of a building downtown or something and like laying down an actual brick, like a brick, like, and he was just like, oh, this, But my thing is reading the comments. I think even the younger generation are starting to look at him like for what he is. He's a character of himself, and it comes to a point like what Train was saying, like that gravy train at some point is gonna end because the allure of you getting beat up is kind of gone. It's part of the shtick of why. Until, again, like maybe Floyd will retire, maybe he won't, but part of his shtick has always been that people want to pay to see him lose. And with Broner, I think he tried to adopt that, but he's just lost and lost and lost and lost. And it just comes down to like, all right, well, where are you now, man? Like, can you beat like Andre Berto guys? Can you beat like Danny? Can you beat those? Because if it's like you can't beat them, he's really not going to have that stage anymore. Like, I think he'll have fights. I just think this Pacquiao fight might have been the last hurrah as far as him getting like a big payday like that.
Yeah, I remember Train had said earlier, he said, wow, man, this is his first pay-per-view. Like, Train was in awe. Like, this is his first pay-per-view. He kept saying this to me. And I don't know, man. It's like, that whole lose yourself Eminem, narrative where you go out there and you just kind of black out. Once you get your opportunity, man, I don't think people realize, that that's what you need to do. And I'm looking at Broner now and it's like, crap, is it really that important? Is it really that important for you to perform and do well? Or is it just important for you to get there? Because now, man, you get to a situation where like, what's going to happen now with Broner, man? Like, what's going to happen? Yeah, where is he going to go?
What do you do? What do you do? Now here's the thing, okay? This pay-per-view did about 400,000 buys. In the modern era, that's not bad. So again, that's why I think in some fashion he's still going to land something, maybe on Fox, maybe on Showtime, but like pay-per-view or whatever. Because think about it, like who can he like legitimately beat? At this point, he lost to Mikey, who's a lightweight, who's granted he's an exceptional fighter. Maidana, I think Jesse Vargas beat him, and Sean Porter. So you think like he can't beat Bud or Spence? And we'll talk about Keith Thurman in a minute. I just think he hit his ceiling. It's just now when is the inevitable coming where it's just the gravy train ends? Because it's coming, man. Because you got to win fights. the whole shtick can go on, but if you keep losing fights, it's people get bored, man. They're like, all right, like like Halloween 8, Halloween 9. All right, we've seen the same thing over and over. Next joint. So, but we'll see, man. We'll see what happens with that. And as far as Pacquiao's concerned, look. We were all under the notion that Floyd was gonna pop up, and I don't know if it was the performance, or I don't know if it's just Floyd still thinking about it, but we haven't heard anything about them fighting. But the alternative is the fight we'll talk about real quick, which took place this past weekend. The return of Keith Thurman after what, like almost 2 years. Against Josecito Lopez, man. So Train, roller coaster of a fight, man. But just give me your take as far as how the fight went.
Wow, it was funny. I had wrote a piece on our Instagram page.
Yeah, right. That's why. Yeah,
you know what I mean. And it's funny because I equated to game managing in football. Look, Josecito Lopez was a guy that got his jaw. Didn't Canelo break his jaw in the fight when he fought?
Yeah, right. Remember?
Yeah, he broke his jaw. But anyway, that's neither here or there. The point I was trying to make was that here's a guy that was called up from junior welterweight essentially to move up to junior middleweight to fight Canelo Alvarez. He's no stranger to fighting the A-side guy. So there's nobody was shocked when rightfully so, Keith Thurman was coming off a 22-month layoff that he would get a guy like Josecito Lopez who Berto stopped in 6 rounds or so. It was a good fight up until that point. but he's a tough guy. Like nobody's going to question Josito Lopez's toughness. He's just limited on what he can do. He's a serve up guy, and Robert Garcia took over as chief command in his corner for this particular fight. He wasn't even supposed to come to the fight. His daughter had some type of affair that night. He was supposed to attend. And somebody else was going to work the corner from him. So everything looked like it was, yeah, right. Everything, yeah, that's right about that. Everything looked like it was going to be a disaster from that perspective. Like, typical, Keith Thurman come back, maybe look a little rusty, and he'll outbox Josito Lopez and even potentially stop him because Josito's he's a bit chinny. But that being said, we got some of that and a little bit more. It was funny. I almost turned the fight off because the Celtics was playing the Warriors, which turned out to be a really great game. I was able to catch the final couple minutes of it. But I said, let me just stay because although Keith Thurman is putting the goods on him, he was boxing, moving his footwork really well and, doing what he's supposed to do, staying out of harm's way. But I was watching Josito just kind of like slowly but surely walking down. Like he got dropped early on in the fight. Josito by Keith Thurman. So I'm like, again, I'm thinking it's going to be an early night. But he never stopped coming forward. And he pressed him back on a straight and narrow path. And Keith Thurman has a bad habit of doing this when being pressed. We saw Luis Collazo do this to him, with a body shot and pressing. Of course, I'm not even going to put Sean Porter in this because, he's considered a good fighter. I'm just talking about guys that was actually served up to him that he struggled with. Now, you can call it playing down to your competition, or you could just say that, maybe he's not as good as he think he is or some people think he is. But anyway, that being said, so midway through the fight, everything changes. Josito, catches him with a bomb and rocks him and almost have Keith Thurman out on his feet to the point, Steve, our favorite, eye-popping ref, when them eyes come out,
something's popping.
He didn't pop them out, but so much, he lifted them a little bit, and Keith Thurman started, holding and did what he's supposed to do, but that's Teddy Atlas always say, he behaved like a fighter. He held on and got his legs and his wits back, but he was almost out on his feet from a guy that was served up to him. Now, again, was it the layoff? This has happened before with Keith Thurman, so I don't know where we're pulling from here. Is his heart and his mind, here on Guard Your Grill, we question, because this is the one sport you can't have one foot in. I think it's two sports, football and boxing. It's the two sports you're either in or you're out. Like you can't, there's no, I'm halfway in this, of course you got guys like Floyd and Pacquiao cashing out, but those guys are skilled enough where they can mask their 1 foot out the other door, where Keith Thurman, not so much. But it was a really good fight for what we expected. We got a treat. Props to Robert Garcia and Josito Lopez, who will now get some more fights.
He will. That's the crazy part.
After showing up against Keith Thurman, and Keith Thurman, to his credit, he was honest. Most guys I wasn't hurt. He said he was hurt.
He hurt. He said that. Yeah.
It's a shame, but that would have changed Josito Lopez's entire family dynamic, and he scored that knockdown.
That would have been a true Rocky story. They call him the Rocky, as far as, just, the fact that he's like he is a journalist, and we forget all the guys he fought, man.
He fought everybody, just about.
Yeah. So look, as it relates now to his future, Keith Thurman, the talk is, Floyd, as insane as it is, this retired fighter who he says he's retired, the irony he still controls the boxing world in the palm of his hands. Whenever he says go, that's when everybody goes. So we're still kind of just waiting to see if he pulls the trigger on fighting Pacquiao again, which we know at the very least will not happen this May. We'll get to the May in a second.
Real quick, there's a picture floating around with Floyd. He looks like he's in tip-top. I mean, not that that mean anything, but there's a picture. He got like a little shirt on, and it looks like he's in serious training mode. Like we don't know what any of it means. But I like your theory, and we'll talk about it later about Keith. But like you said, ultimately, Floyd he controls everything.
Yeah, that's I guess that's kind of in a sense like the $250 million question.
Right, exactly.
He's gonna do this right away and fight Pacquiao in Pacquiao's next fight. Now Pacquiao wants it. Now,
of course, yeah.
Again, he can't wait on Floyd, and he's already said he can't wait on Floyd.
Yeah, so he's getting older too,
Exactly, right. Now, the thing is, now you start to look at the fact that he's with the PBC, and you look at his options. Now, I've heard people talk about the winner of Mikey Garcia and Errol Spence. The only way that happens is if Mikey Garcia wins. Because he is not Manny Pacquiao is not fighting Errol Spence.
That would. I don't even think they would advise for him to do that.
No, absolutely not. And look, and I think when I look at everybody there, Keith Thurman to me just seems like
right.
Whole sensical fight.
It's easy. You see what a Pacquiao. I don't know how many people work for Pacquiao, but his matchmaker apparently, I didn't know he even had one of those, but his matchmaker said that the Broner fight was the easiest fight they ever made in their lives. Like he was like, it was so easy, it got done in 9 minutes. So he to your point, Roberto, he was saying that the Thurman fight is so easy to be made. Like it seems like that's already in the cards. Yeah. But we're not going to put it on a table until we get a final from Floyd.
Yeah, right. Exactly. And I think all of us know that, like, for Keith Thurman, to me, man, like, if you were to really ask me, and I don't think you guys would disagree, I think he's trying to cash out, man.
Oh, yeah, no doubt about it. I mean, he said this 2 years ago when he got married. He just doesn't seem like a guy that's all the way in anymore.
Right. And when I look at Bud and Spence, it's just I see those two guys. I think they're not looking at the exit sign yet.
No, nowhere near.
It's like, admittedly, he is, and he hasn't made any mention of it. But prior to the fight, he was saying they're still harboring the hand, seeing what's up. And when they did the post-fight interview, he was like kind of covering it up. And I don't know, man. Like, I don't know. I think if Thurman's hand, even if his hand is somewhat hurt, or it's not 100%, and Floyd doesn't come to the table yet for Pacquiao, I still say take that fight, man. Take that fight, because who knows if you're gonna have an opportunity again to fight him, man. This is gonna be the closest chance he has at fighting somebody that's gonna make him life-changing money, man. Because he ain't gonna be Floyd. So it's just if that is his MO, and look, to each his own, man. Like, if you don't have any desire to fight Errol Spence and Crawford, my only suggestion is don't talk about it. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't talk about Bud and say, he hasn't done anything and when Bud will fight you tomorrow. But that's neither here nor there. I think if Mayweather Pacquiao 2 doesn't happen this year, I think we're gonna get Thurman Pacquiao or Pacquiao Thurman, and they're both the WBA champions, which kills me because for the Pacquiao Broner fight, they were pitching the idea that Pacquiao was a WBA welterweight champion. And then when they announced Thurman coming in, they called him the super welterweight champion. I'm like, like, that's confusing, man, because old school dudes that were watching that would say, oh, he's a 154 pounder, because that's what a super welterweight is. It's really a junior middleweight. It's a different term, but because of the WBA and the super regular champ. That's another reason why I think they might make it, because they'll solidify that title in a fight that I think does pretty well numbers as far as like I mean, we'll see, because Broner's shtick about selling the fight was one thing, but I actually would want to see this fight, man. And look, let me say this, and shout to ROD, because me and ROD were talking about this. I watched the Thurman Lopez fight again, and I can tell you, Pacquiao Thurman looks a little more interesting to me than it did before. I'll just say that.
Ride or die, cause said that.
so real quick,
you know why it looks interesting is all the points that you said, but it looks like, once Keith Thurman got married, and shout out to marriage because we're all married. It seemed like he got comfortable, man.
Look at Roberto. Mic check. You never know who's watching these videos, right, Roberto?
You never know. And you know what happened, man? He got comfortable, man. And when that whole aura came of just him being comfortable, married, everything like that, he just lost it. And like, it was funny. We were just looking at it, and his last time he was in the ring was 2 years ago, 2017, man. And that's bad. But then on top of that, I'm looking at the flaws that he had prior to these Keith Thurman apologists, the flaws he had prior to this fight. It's not 2 years. No, these are the flaws that he had that like you guys were too blind to see because he was knocking out C+, C- opponents. Now he fought somebody who had a decent trainer, who wasn't afraid of his punching power.
Right.
And now and then what happened is you saw these things that he was getting exposed, pulling back in a straight line, which trained you and our dads talked about this, pulling back in a straight line, not really having angles, not clinching. Okay, he boxed well on his feet, but not clinching. You and I wondered for years, how did his face look like that against Robert Guerrero? Like, you shouldn't be getting touched against Robert Guerrero. Maybe beat up a little bit. His face looked bad.
He had that hematome like on the top of his head.
Robert Guerrero.
That was the Guerrero fight.
Yeah, there's a Guerrero fight.
Okay, yeah. Wow, okay.
He looked bad. He looked really bad in that fight. My dad was saying to me, if Guerrero had any gas left in that fight, he probably would have finished. He probably would have beat Keith Thurman. So, I mean, listen.
He was close, man. He was literally like.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
it made me look at the Crawford. I just kept thinking a whole different. Like,
I just kept thinking about Spence doing that. Like, you saw what Spence did to Kell Brook when he walked him down. Like,
this would be bad, man.
Yeah, that would have been like.
Yeah, that's why I said to you, hey Trey, I asked Roberto this, but let me ask you this.
Okay.
In that 7th round, all right, we can end it. We can end, the Thurman talk after this. In the 7th round, if Thurman fought Crawford, Spence, or Porter, does he make it out of that 7th round?
Not at all.
Nope.
So you think Porter finishes him too?
I think to Roberto's point and to your point too, I think that mixed in with the layoff, mixed in with there's too many bads mixed all into one that's happening here. It's like almost like a storm waiting to happen. Like him getting hurt against Josito, and look, this is no knock to him, but him being hurt the way he was against him, like they like Al Heyman wouldn't have put him in the ring with Josito Lopez if they thought Josito could hurt him. He was put in there for punches to bounce off of him, not this what took place. So what I saw was a guy that, and I know people probably might think we're overreacting, but like you said, Rada, there's evidence here of this. Now, some people can call it playing down to your competition because there's always that side of the argument, but this is boxing. This isn't like basketball, a team sport where you can play the next week or the next day. So I'm just concerned about his mindset and his body. Like, is his right hand, Roberto?
Mm-hmm.
Is his right hand?
It was his elbow.
His elbow, right? Is his elbow fully recovered? Do he still want to do this? Is his mind set on? Because if his mindset is set on retirement, he's already retired already.
He's already retired.
So that's the fact that he don't even mention Earl. Like those guys are like not. And listen. This is a business, so I would take the Pacquiao fight too if I was him. That goes without saying. But he's not talking about like unifications and that. And to be honest with you, after watching that, I couldn't find one person that could. Because before then, Rada, you know this from and Roberto too. People was telling us how he would beat Crawford and beat Spence. All that talk has changed now. Like,
oh yeah,
now they want him to take the Pacquiao fight. Like, it's just funny how everything has changed when they saw what they saw on Saturday night.
Yeah, I agree, man. I agree. It's just you know, I mean, we'll see how this whole, you know, the Pacquiao fight plays out, and if he gets it. But I mean, y'all made great points, man. It's just the jury's kind of out on him, you know. And look, he's saying this is his get back year and the whole nine. But
okay, yeah,
I think for him, and you brought up a good point, Train. Like, I don't think they thought Osasito was gonna be that effective. Now, did you guys notice the love handles that this dude was rocking? And Osasito was like a 140-pounder at one point, you know. And
right.
You know what I mean? So it's like it's just
they just call him in whatever weight. Okay,
I'll do it. Like 168, cool. Up there.
He might be fighting a Charlo twin next month. You know,
wouldn't be shocked.
You never know with Josito. He just takes the call. You know. Yeah.
Yo, honestly, I wouldn't be shocked if he fought like somebody at 154. He's already fighting at welterweight. So
yeah, well, I mean, that's there. Canelo up there. So
you know. So, any case, man. Speaking of former junior middleweight, we did get some news this weekend as it relates to Canelo's next opponent that will be on Cinco de Mayo weekend. Well, technically May 4th. Not Triple G, but a guy that we thought was gonna get this crack, and you know, he's finally getting the opportunity. Danny Jacobs, and that's gonna be again May 4th on DAZN. So this is you know, and they haven't announced where it's gonna be. I mean, a lot of people are thinking it's gonna be at the MGM, but again, we got the Rocky Fielding fight. I think that was just a gimme fight, but DAZN, I don't think they went into this deal thinking that we're just going to give him like these little rinky-dink fights and, you know, we'll pay him all this money. Now, to Canelo's credit, man, when you look at his track record, for the most part, I mean, outside of like, he hasn't fought the Charlos yet, and I'm trying to think of some other guys, but I mean, he's fought Triple G twice already. He fought Erislandy Lara. It's not like he's really, at this point, there isn't anybody that I think all of us agree. There isn't a fighter that he hasn't fought yet that we're like screaming for him to fight. Outside, I guess, maybe Danny Jacobs and Jamal Charlo, but you know, I think we might need to see a little bit more of Jamal. But this is the best fight right now, I think Canelo can make. You know, Triple G, I think his wife just had a kid, or their baby, their second baby, and she's running part of his the second half of his career, what have you. We haven't heard anything, man, as it relates to like if he's officially signing with DAZN or what. But any case, Canelo, Danny Jacobs, man. I mean, I like the fight, man. I like the fight. ROD.
No, I mean, you know, I like it too. I mean, what's there not to like about it? You know, I mean, you got the best fighting each other. I mean, you know, we don't have to wait around and hear about, you know, oh well, we wait till this guy's name get up. It's the best to fighting the best, you know, and I'm just so happy, man, that we have something to look forward to in 2019, because I remember Train, you know, was telling us that 2018 was gonna be a ghost town. Remember that, Train?
Yep. I think he went ghost for a minute. and now I'm so happy, man, that we have that to look forward to, man. So it's just one more thing, and I hope we get more fights like that. I think, yeah, DAZN, they especially for Canelo, they needed to put him in a fight that, you know, people were gonna get excited about, and also for people to you know hop onto the subscription, you know, because they couldn't afford to put him in a lesser fight than, you know, than Danny Jacobs. But again, I think, to Canelo's credit, man, like I think he called for this fight too. They negotiated. It was I think they got the fight made in like a week or something like that. Wasn't really a big deal at all. So I'm excited for it, man. Matter of fact, I got to figure out how I'm watching that fight, because that same night is shout out to my aunt she's turning the big 5-0.
Okay.
And I'm DJing her party, which ends at 9. And shout out to my cousin who's gonna be there, and who's the big boxing head. We were like, yo, We got to figure out what's going on because we're thinking Mayweather Pacquiao 2, Canelo whatever, and now Danny Jacobs now. So, but at least with the DAZN, I know ROD hasn't jumped on, man, but it's just the fact that you can just like
watch it on your phone if you got to.
Yeah, like before we get to the crib, because I don't think the fight will start till like 11 or something like that. But it's look, I think this is a good step for DAZN. They needed Canelo in a big fight. Even one of my coworkers, man, he's like, where is that fight gonna be on DAZN? I'm like, yeah. He's like, yo, I gotta cop it then. So it's again, like this is what they're looking for. They're looking for quality. So I'm excited. RD saying, I
just think that. I think we all think Canelo is going to win the fight, but I just think that it's better than having him fight some nobody. This is
It's a quality. It's a
quality fight. If somehow Daniel Jacobs was able to pull off a win, it's like, okay, all right, you're good with it because it's a fight. I'm not gonna call it. Some people might. I don't think it's a 50-50. I think it's more of a 60-40 fight, favor Canelo. But I'll take that over 90-10 or 80-20. So all we want.
There's things, Danny, man. There's things.
Right. He's bigger.
He's bigger, and
I do think they're going to have a rehydration clause. Like I just know how boxing works and the powers that be. Go ahead. What you were saying, Roberto?
Well, I was going to say with the IBF though, they have that 10-pound joint anyway. So
right, exactly. Oh, there you go. But I just know De La Hoya, and I know the way he operates. There's no way what happened in that Triple G fight is going to happen in this fight. There's no way.
Yeah. Danny's I don't. It's weird because it's like you see him in some fights and you're like, man, like, he really didn't look good. Then you look at other fights, you're like, yo, because
he's another one that plays down. Like he's another one that.
Yeah, that's. It's funny you mentioned that because I started thinking about that when this fight was made. I'm thinking like, man, is he gonna show up? Yeah. Now look, he fought Triple G, and that to me, outside of Canelo, is Triple G's toughest fight.
Right.
You can a round or two.
Right.
You could swing it, you know what I'm saying? So it's not like Danny is not capable, he's
just not busy enough. He's just not. That's what's going to hurt him in this fight. And I got this fear. We got plenty of time to talk about it, but I got this fear. It's going to be Sunday morning. We're going to be like, okay, well, how did you judge the fight?
Hey, look, man. That's what I'm saying. And going into it, you're thinking we've been down this road before, man. And Danny, see the thing with Triple G, all of us collectively looked at that fight like, well, look, man, Triple G's just too strong. He's gonna walk this dude down.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Right. But then you look at Danny Jacobs, right, and it's like it's a different dynamic where Danny's not gonna be walking him down. Now, look, I think Canelo, we found out, like, has progressed as a boxer, and he's experienced, man. Like he's experienced at the high level, and it takes you places, man. And I think that's look, I wouldn't be surprised when this fight ends. Like we're talking, like I don't know where this fight goes. It could,
could be that,
But I think to your point as well, I'm glad we're getting this as opposed to like a fight, or like
Sullivan. What's the Irish dude
or something like that?
The Irish dude you were telling me about,
Spike O'Sullivan.
That I could do without
somebody like that. Yeah, like they couldn't afford to do that. That's the best fight that they can make.
They paid a man $56 million. They got to cash in on their investment.
They got to do something. So before we wrap up, man, we have a fight that, like, even till today, man, like we almost kind of forgot about. The Super Bowl's this weekend. A lot of y'all, there's some of y'all that don't watch the NFL, but it's like, it's the Super Bowl, man.
I said I wasn't watching it. By the way, I said I wasn't watching it, but I'll be watching it.
Yeah, man. A lot of it. ROD's rocking with. He's rocking with Team Brady over there. So
that's what I'm saying. I didn't know who I don't like. I can't stand the Rams.
No, here's the thing. I'm I'm not rocking. Like, I only did that to piss y'all off with that 20-3 because I knew they was gonna beat Atlanta because Atlanta was so stupid. But I'm telling you this right now. Like, I do like the Brady story, but like, it's getting out of control now. He's so arrogant and pompous, man. And
that's why I'm saying Grady's. Listen,
you heard what he said
nobody's
about the Pro Bowl?
What he say?
yeah. Like
He
the
was
one
like,
boy
I
was
don't
crying.
play this to go to that issue.
Yeah. Like the one boy was crying, man. He didn't make it, and he was like, "I don't play this ish to go there." Now, granted, let me tell you something. Not bad for someone who won 50% of his high school games, wasn't recruited that big out of high school, a fifth string quarterback, and really never got in until he was a senior at Michigan. Think about it, man. Remember, we that's why I like the narrative. He had a terrible combine, 6th round pick. That's the only reason I like it. Other than that, like that other stuff, man, the Uggs model, all that stuff, you can lose me with that, man. I'm cool.
I'm just tired of the whole mystique. Like, listen, I respect his greatness. Like, that dude is a surgeon and an assassin. You know, when he got the ball with those final 2 minutes. Even throughout the game, he picks you apart. The hoodie is what we was calling the hoodie Senator Palpatine from Star Wars. He just sinister. Like, he's just such a menacing character. Like, you know, being in MIAO, you know, you got to deal with it.
You know how it is down here, man.
You know what I mean? So, like, I don't know, but I guess I'm rooting for the Rams. I mean, I don't really like them either, but I don't know, man. Who are the Rams? Like, you know what I mean? It's like it's a weird Super Bowl. Like, you know,
kind of expecting the inevitable, to be honest.
You mean? Oh, of course, of course.
You know, I'm just gonna be watching it. Like, it's just an event, man. You know, got Pop Dukes in town.
Yeah, you got people over, right? Yeah,
man. Like, it's like it is what it is. But speaking of the fight, you know, this weekend is kind of indirectly, well, yeah, in a way, kind of riding the wave of the Super Bowl, being that it is this weekend. And I almost
shocked that they did this, though. You don't normally see this.
That is true, and it is ballsy. But I'm starting to notice that ESPN is throwing the promos during the Super Bowl coverage, and that is obviously the rematch between Alida Alvarez and Sergey Kovalev for the WBO light heavyweight title. Now, the first fight took place on HBO in one of their last cards, and me and RD were talking about this. 5 rounds into the fight, Kovalev is winning this fight. I mean, he's I don't want to say he's putting on a clinic, but I mean, he was beating. You see who the better fighter is, and then out of nowhere, I think it was like a looping right hand that like hit him in the temple. Now, when you get hit in the temple, a lot of times, like you lose your equilibrium, and you're really just, you know, 1 looks like 4. You know, you don't know where you're at. Probably like about, I think it was like 30, 40 seconds after that, he took him out, and the fight was over. And we were just like, wow, is this it? Like, is this the end of Kovalev? But we're here again, and he's now training with Buddy McGirt, meaning shout
out to Buddy.
Shout out to Buddy. Who's, you know, obviously trained many dudes.
We don't need no introduction, right?
Yeah, man. This is, and we were talking earlier about trainers and the different trainers and everything. I think this is like his 3rd trainer at this point, because he was initially with Abel Sanchez. He left there, got with John David Jackson. That whole thing went off. But and then he had like this other Russian trainer. I guess that's not working. And now he's with Buddy McGirt. So this is like 4 trainers. And you know, at this point, it's like this fight's going to tell us where Kovalev really is at for not only now, but I think the remainder of his career, man. And the thing with Alida Alvarez, we had seen him in other fights that it's like he would just like you would think like he would be at a level where like, oh man, you know, like this guy's like a top tier guy, and then it's like he kind of like not reach those expectations, but he would still like land these fights. Then again, this Kovalev fight comes, and before you they log off.